What is going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. So today we have another video on the Mark V Supra, because to be honest with you, ever since the last video where I told you that we got this puppy tuned and she's making about $500, I've in a lot of ways fallen back in love with this car. Not that I was not in love with the car to begin with, but it just brightened it up so much and has changed the driving dynamics so significantly that in a lot of ways it feels like a new car. So we're just enjoying it while we can. I don't know if you can see that, but we just got our golf clubs re-gripped. So that's exciting. 'Tis the season to get back into golf. Other than the fact that it's about 25 degrees here in South Carolina, which I thought I moved to Carolina from the north to get better weather, but anyway, whatever. We will get there soon enough. But that is not what we're talking about today. What we are talking about today is a little bitty cheat code I have found, and it is not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a cheat code nonetheless, especially for those of you who are planning on running an aftermarket downpipe on your Mark V Supra, or really any car, to be honest with you. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to give a little background on this, of course, as some of you guys may know, I'm running a Active AutoWorks catted downpipe on the B58 3.0 Supra, and it's fantastic. And unfortunately, even though they said it wouldn't throw a check engine light, it did. Now, obviously, as you guys already know, we ended up permanently getting rid of, I guess, the check engine light in the right way by shipping the ECU off to Femto, getting it tuned, and having all the sensors and everything kind of marry up and read true to form. But even though we did that, I still went ahead and did this cheat code just to double and triple check that this would actually remedy the issue of a check engine light as it relates to an O2 sensor. And it is important to note, if you don't want to spend the money on getting a tune, but you want a cheap and easy fix to an O2 check engine light, this is the video for you. So as I did my research on the check engine light with the downpipe, I basically came across a little bitty piece called an O2 sensor spacer. Now, what this does is it kind of tricks the whole car into thinking that it is reading a normal level of emissions, essentially, in the O2 sensors connected to the downpipe, even though we're not running a stock downpipe. Now, of course, this is when we get into the conversation of catted versus uncatted downpipes and all that sort of stuff. But regardless, even when you're going from a stock catted downpipe to an aftermarket high flow catted downpipe, there's still going to be different air fuel ratios and sensor stuff that makes the car think that something's wrong, when in reality, it's not wrong. So welcome to the O2 sensor spacer. Now, the spacer that I ended up going with is from a company called J Car Parts, and it's an O2 spacer. It's nothing crazy. It's a part about yay big, but essentially what you do is you connect that spacer to the O2 sensor, plug it back in to the actual downpipe, and now you're tricking the O2 sensor, giving it a little more space from where the emissions are flowing and where the sensor actually sits to allow it to read a lower emissions number or ratio. So that way it's not going to freak out the car and the computer in the car thinking that the emissions or the CAT is off in any way, shape, or form. Now, it is also important to note, even if you are just running an aftermarket downpipe with no tune, no sensor spacer, or anything like that, you're not really going to do any harm to your car necessarily. Technically, longevity and stuff will be in question, but as far as like day-to-day drivability, shouldn't have any massive negative impact. But for me, and my sake of having a consistent check engine light on the dash, I want to know that if something else goes wrong with the car, that it's not the downpipe. You know, if there's just an engine light there, you're gonna get numb and callous to the idea that, oh, it's just the downpipe, it's no big deal, when in reality it could be a much larger issue. And so you just want to eliminate that entirely. Now, like I said, even though I went ahead and got the car tuned, mainly for the sake of getting rid of that check engine light, I still wanted to add these spacers in there just to reassure me that everything was going to be okay. And to be honest, guys, with how easy the install is, there's really no reason not to. There's two O2 sensors, kind of one before the cat, one after the cat. It takes 2 seconds, really, once you get access to the sensors themselves, which is a little difficult, but I did it in my garage in about an hour. Okay, it's nothing crazy, but I promise you that if you plan on running a downpipe and installing that downpipe yourself, please go ahead and spend the extra 40 bucks or whatever it was to just go ahead, put the spacers in while you're doing the downpipe, and you're going to save yourself a lot of headache in the future. Trust me, I wish I would have done it earlier, and I am so glad that we have it done now. So anyway, I know this video was very short and sweet, but it is something that, to be honest with you, it was so like hidden in all the forums and all the stuff, and I didn't really understand the purpose of what the spacers actually did, so I didn't pull the trigger on them arguably when I should have, but now that I have done the research and I have done the install, I wanted to share this with you guys. I'm telling you, if you are going an aftermarket downpipe, just do yourself a solid. No harm, no foul. It literally can only do good for your car. It's not going to do anything bad. So please, 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 hear it from me. Just go ahead and buy them. So guys, that is going to do it for another episode of Gearbox. If you like this video, please give it a big fat thumbs up. If you have any questions on the O2 sensor spacers or anything else as it relates to aftermarket downpipes or exhaust, drop them in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. And until next time, peace.